Solutions to perfect problem 4 from Math 111. We're given these two functions, f of x and g of x, and asked to compose them and find their domains. So, okay, first we want to find f of x. Well, f of x is 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x. So f of x would be f of that thing, f of x. Just figured out f of x was 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x. So what I have to do to figure out f of x is figure out what is f of this thing right here. So the way you do that is you take your function f of x, and everywhere you see an x, you replace it with this mess. So what I'm saying is we get 2 times, and then instead of writing x, I'm going to write 2x plus 3. Maybe here's an easier. 2x plus 3 divided by 8 minus x. So 2x plus 3 divided by 8 minus, and then again, instead of writing x, I'm going to write 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x. This mess right here is f of x. Unfortunately, it asked me to simplify that. Okay, this 2 is 2 over 1, so I can multiply that through here and get 4x plus 6 over 8 minus x. Write this a little bit better. Then I have this plus 3, which I can think of as 3 over 1, but I don't want my denominator to be 1. I want it to be 8 minus x. So what I need is 3 times 8 minus x over 8 minus x. Now I have a common denominator, and I'll be able to put those two guys together. Same idea in the denominator here. I got 8 over 1 here, but I want the denominator to be 8 minus x. So I'll multiply the top and the bottom by 8 minus x. To give me this. And now that I have common denominators, I can make this kind of a fraction over a fraction. I got 4x plus 6 plus 8 times 3 is 24. 24 plus 6 is 30. 4x plus negative 3x, if I distribute this in, it's just x. The denominator here, I got 8 times 8 is 64, but I want 64 minus 3, so I only have 61. 8 times negative x is negative 8x, minus 2 more x is negative 10x. So I get to here. I can divide fractions. It's like multiplying fractions, which multiply by the reciprocal. What I'm saying is it's 30 plus x over 8 minus x times 8 minus x over 61 minus 10x. And what's nice here is this 8 minus x, this 8 minus x cancel each other out. And so what I'm left with for f of x is just 30 plus x. It's a weird looking 30 over, let's say, 61 minus 10x. The domain. To figure out the domain of a composite function, you first have to look at the inside function, so f of x. I need 8 minus x to not be equal to 0, because I can't divide by 0. In other words, I need x to not be equal to 8. However, I also need the, I also have to look at the composite function. I need to not divide by 0 here either. I need 61 minus 10x to not be equal to 0. In other words, I need 10x to not be equal to 61. I need x to not be equal to 6.1. Actually, we haven't been using decimals in this class, so I'll leave it as 61 tenths. Either way is fine. So for my domain, I need both these guys. So my domain is everything except for these two numbers. This number is less than this number. So it's everything from negative infinity up to 61 over 10. Then everything from 61 over 10 up to 8. And everything from 8 up to infinity. This is my domain of this first composite function. Good news is we're done with parts A and part B. Bad news is there's parts C, D, and E. But okay, we can do it. C, find and simplify f of g of x. Well, g of x is equal to negative 2x squared plus 10x plus 5. I had to pause that for a minute here. What was I doing? Plus 10x plus 5. So f of g of x is the same as f of this thing, which is g of x. And what that means is take your function f of x, which I have written right here for convenience, and replace all the x's with this mess. In other words, it is 2, but instead of times x, it's times negative 2x squared plus 10x plus 5. So 2x plus 3, 8 minus x, but instead of writing x, write negative 2x squared plus 10x plus 5. And it does ask me to simplify this, so I guess I'll do it on another line. Sure. 2 times negative 2x is negative 4x. Sorry, 2 times negative 2x squared is negative 4x squared. 2 times 10x is 20x. And 2 times 5 is 10. But I also have this 3 here. 10 plus 3 is 13. I thought about doing that in 2 steps, but decided against it. And here I have 8 minus this thing. So this minus changes the sign of all these guys. Minus negative 2x squared is 2x squared minus 10x. And I got minus 5, but also have this plus 8. So what that nets out to is plus 3. So f of g of x, I'll say it is this guy right here. For the domain, I need to look at 2 things. I need to look at the inside function g of x, but that's just a polynomial. It's this guy here. It's defined everywhere. There's no numbers I have to worry about. So I just have to make sure that 2x squared minus 10x plus 3 is not equal to 0. So let's figure out when it does equal, well, sure, it does not equal 0. So how do you solve this? Well, it's not easy to solve. You try to factor it. I don't think it'll factor. You could use the quadratic equation. I'm not a big fan. So what I would do is I would complete the square. I would divide both sides by 2. And then I would put something on both sides. Okay, so maybe first I'll subtract 3/2 over to this side. You can do it whenever you want. But I'll put something on both sides of the equation to make this a perfect square. Well, it turns out that that something is 25 over 4. If I add it to one side of the equation, I have to add it to the other. And the reason it's 25 over 4 is because half of this number is 5/2, maybe negative 5/2. But negative 5/2 squared is 25/4. This right here is a perfect square. This is x minus 5/2 squared. Try it. FOIL this out. You'll get this. Negative 3/2 plus 25/4. Okay. X minus 5/2 squared can't be equal to, see, this is the same as negative 6/4. Negative 6/4 plus 25/4 is positive 19/4. Take the square root of both sides. Make sure you put in the plus or minus when you take the square root. Square root of 19/4 is the same as the square root of 19 over the square root of 4, which is 2. So what I get for my answers are x cannot be equal to, if you add 5/2 to both sides, 5/2 plus or minus the square root of 19/2, or I could say 5 plus or minus root 19 over 2. I'm going to write that neater. So we get these two values that x cannot be equal to. So in interval notation, my domain, I don't know, up here maybe, is I want everything from negative infinity up to 5 minus root 19 over 2 union everything between those two numbers, 5 minus root 19 over 2 to 5 plus root 19 over 2. I don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze that in there. Another union, my third interval will be 5 plus root 19 over 2 all the way up to infinity. So this mess right here is my domain, and I have a little bit of room left, so I'll try to do the last part of the problem. I should probably box some of these answers up. So you can kind of follow where the answers are. Not the neatest work. Good enough. So I got this guy, got this, I got this, got this. Part E just says find f of x. Don't simplify it. Maybe I can do that up here. Part E. f of x. Well, the way you do that is you'd say f of, instead of f of x here in the very middle, f of x is 2x plus 3 divided by 8 minus x. So what I'm trying to figure out is f of 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x. F of 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x, a couple different ways to write that. You could write it in this form, or you could write it in this form, because we already figured that out. So what I'm going to say is that is f of 30 plus x divided by 61 minus 10x, because we figured that out in part A. And then that I can figure out. I can say that equals 30 plus, and then instead of writing x, I'm going to write 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x divided by 61 minus 10. Then instead of writing x, I'll write 2x plus 3, 8 minus x. This is probably the easier way to write the answer, but this relies on you realizing that you already know f of x from part A. If you didn't notice that, then what you would do is kind of use this as f of x. So your final answer would be take this function, 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x, and put this mess in every time you see an x. So another way you could write this would be 2 times 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x plus 3 divided by 8 minus 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x. That whole thing right there is just the x in 2x plus 3 divided by 8 minus, and then again, instead of x, I want to write this entire thing, 2 times 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x plus 3 divided by 8 minus 2x plus 3 over 8 minus x. Whew. So this or this, either one is good. Maybe I'll box them both up. Works for your final answer. This one's a little bit more simplified. This one is a little bit messier.